Hey guys, here we go into a very special video, and people have been kind of asking me, like I used to have a grading fighter series that I was doing where I would talk about the different levels of setting your punches up, and it wasn't super concise. I didn't understand how to explain it to people who didn't box, but I have a fantastic way to talk about it. I want to talk about your offense in layers. I want to talk about how important it is to quote unquote layer your offense so that your opponent has multiple layers of defense. Or if they have multiple layers of defense, or any of the layers of defense that they have, you're able to get them out of position and combat those layers of defense. Sometimes that defense is they throw a hard jab out. Sometimes that defense is they slip. Sometimes that defense is they move back or they move off the line. But you need to test those defenses because sometimes those defenses are also countering. Sometimes those defenses are gonna hurt you. And the idea behind layering your offense is to mitigate the amount of risk that you put yourself in when you attack your opponent. Because it's very rare that you're going to be able to attack your opponent without setting your shots up first. If you watch a lot of Mayweather fights, like his old ones, someone throws a jab at him. What does he do? Immediately pull counter, boom, and rocks the guy. Now, the reason that that happens is because these guys are not layering their offense. They're not feinting. They're not setting their jab up, and they're walking right into the trap that Mayweather has. Now, I want to talk about the different layers of setting your shots up and why they're important. And I'm going to go through this kind of quick, I'm hoping. So let's go ahead and get into it. So right away, we're going to have Keith Thurman, and he's going to flash his lead hand, but he's not going to really know how Garcia is going to react to it. Garcia could react to that feint any way that he wants. He could throw a right hand, he could throw a left hook, he could throw an uppercut, he could move off the line. But Keith Thurman, right at the start of the fight with him and Danny Garcia, he flashes his lead hand and then throws a left hook. No setup. Then immediately after that, he feints a right hand to the body and then throws a left hook. But he doesn't know how Garcia is going to react to these punches. He has no idea. So what he's doing is he's putting himself into a lot of danger. These are very, very, very basic setups. Just enough to maybe get your opponent out of position so that they don't see the next punch. And the reason that this works for Keith Thurman is just because he's a power puncher and people don't want to get hit by him. They're worried, maybe. But it's a very flawed way of fighting. And as soon as he steps up in competition, and not that he's, not a world champion, but we know what his competition's been like the last few fights. But as soon as he starts fighting, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, we're going to really be able to see where his offense takes him and how limited it is in that regard. But moving on, again, feinting a little bit right there, but then flashing the lead hook and then throwing a right hand again. He doesn't know how Danny Garcia is going to react. Now, 30 seconds into the round, he does the same move, flashing the lead hook, throws the right hand. He doesn't know how Danny Garcia is going to react. Danny Garcia comes back and boom, catches him with the right uppercut. But again, kind of tries to catch him with the left hook first, follows him back, and then kind of lands a right uppercut. But the problem with this style of offense, this very basic style, is that Thurman has no idea how his opponent is going to react. Now, the next one that we have is a pattern-based setup. And this is a very basic as well, but you're creating a layer of ambiguity between what your opponent is expecting from you and what you're doing. And then you're going to break that pattern later. And one thing that Regis Prograis does, he has a very active guard. And this is something that I like. Something that I don't like about Keith Thurman. He doesn't. He's very here, right? And then he explodes out of his guard. Another knock on Keith Thurman style. But Regis Prograis is going to be, he's southpaw. He's going to be here. And he's going to be slipping to the inside and to the outside. And he's going to use that technique to hide his straight left hand or his left hand to the body. And he's going to be moving like this. And when he moves like this to the inside, to the inside, he's going to move to the outside and use that motion to hide his left hand. As you see here, slip, slip, right, slip. And then his opponent attacks him on that axis, right here. He rolls with the shot, and his opponent never sees the left hand to the body coming because it's on his rhythm. It's on the same rhythm. And what he's doing is he's adding a little layer to his offense to take away his opponent's ability to recognize that pattern. Now, this style of offense is pattern-based, So you're going to, eventually your opponent's going to figure it out. I think might be the second or the third time that Regis Prograis has caught him with that shot. So now his opponent in this next sequence is going to make an adjustment because it's pattern based. He dips to the inside, dips to the outside, dips to the inside, and now his opponent thinks once he dips to the inside that he's going to go for a body shot, and his opponent ducks down and tries to block the body shot. But Regis Prograis, fortunately for him, even though his opponent made an adjustment, and that's how easy it is to make an adjustment on this subtle of a layer, but a very important layer, on this subtle of a layer, his opponent makes an adjustment. Unfortunately for him, Regis Prograis makes an adjustment as well and is able to really make him pay for it. So let's just watch that clip again. Just a simple layer, right? Hiding his offense off of his own rhythm, and is able to land a great shot right there because of it. But also we can see how fragile this layer is because his opponent is able to make adjustments because it's based on prior knowledge. It's based on something that's already happened in the fight. Now, on this same layer, this is another style, but it's the same layer. It's and I'm going to call this layer like committed pattern based. Now, Canelo has a very similar style right here. So he's going to shoot his jab, and notice how he lunges in. He kind of jumps in, jab, and then he jabs to the head. And now in the next sequence, he's going to do the same motion, jumping in with his jab, but it's a feint. He only wants his opponent to think he's jabbing, and boom, boom, he goes to the body with the right hand and then the head to the left hook. Now he's going to do the same thing, steps forward with the jab. His opponent doesn't have a counter for it, and he takes a step back. Now in the next scene, he steps forward again, and because he knows how his opponent's going to react, he's going to shell up. He goes in with the left hook and kind of grazes him on the outside, but he's using this same style of committed pattern base. And the reason I say committed is both of these guys have committed to this motion during their motion or during their attack, right? They're moving, they're transitioning their weight, and then they transition. Well, Regis Prograis transitions his weight and slams that shot to the body, and then transitions his weight and throws that punch to the head. In order to set this up for Canelo, he has to commit to the jab a few times before he is able to break the pattern. Commit to the jab now, and then go to the body instead. Commit to the jab here, but you still have the opportunity to break this layer by countering his jab or making an adjustment when you figure out that that's what he's doing, that he's using these to set up his punches, and you can make an adjustment later. Now, this is the next layer that I want to talk about, and this is all setting up your punches, setting up a safe offense. As you saw in the last one right here with Canelo, he has his opponent reacting this way to his jab, so he feels safe throwing this left hook. Again, you can always make an adjustment, but Canelo is committing to the motion of the left hook before he knows exactly how his opponent is going to react to it. Even though he's seen previously, it's never too late to make an adjustment. Now in this next scene, Kovalev has a non-committed pattern-based layer of attack on his opponent, Vasily. Is it Vasily Shabransky? No. I don't know that guy's first name, but Shabransky. So he comes out with his jab, and you can see him probing with his lead hand, and it's a very safe style, right? Because he's not committing to his jab, and what does he notice right away? Shabransky wants to jab with him. Now this is 5 seconds into the fight, so jabbing, and his opponent jabs with him. Now he's going to commit to his jab, and his opponent jabs with him again. Now what does he do? He sticks his lead hand out just a little bit right there, testing the water, seeing if he can get Shabransky to throw his own jab. Now, in this next scene, this is at the end of the round, Kovalev knows this, and now what he wants to do is he's going to use his non-committed pattern-based. He's going to take advantage of the pattern that Shabransky has created of jabbing with him by not committing to his jab. Right here, as you can see, he sticks his jab out, and now he sticks his lead hand out right there. And he's going to stick his jab out here, and he gets Shabransky to jab with him, and he immediately retracts his jab and throws a right hand instead. As you can see, it's not a real jab, this one. He's only baiting Shabransky into throwing his jab because of the information that he's already gained throughout the round that Shabransky wants to jab with him. And now he's able to take advantage of his opponent's pattern very similarly to the way that Canelo was setting up his shots and Regis Prograis with their layers and with their setup, but he's not committed. As you can see, he shot that jab and ducked back. He sticks his lead hand out right there just a little bit, and here he sticks his lead hand out there, gets Shabransky to commit to to the pattern that he's looking for, and then makes him pay for it, and then gets the knockdown. He doesn't knock him out in that round, but it's exactly what I wanted to talk about, is that he's using a very safe layer to make his opponent react to it and then attack on the reaction. A very safe, non-committed pattern-based offense. Now, the next example I have of this is Golovkin. And in this instance, right away, he jabs at Martirosyan, and Martirosyan attacks him right away with the jab back right away. Now, in the next scene, boom, he shoots another jab, and Golovkin moves back and sees, oh, he's jabbing with me. Now, Golovkin is going to do the exact same thing that Kovalev did. He's going to use a non-committed, pattern-based offense. So he's going to jab here, and then he's used a little probe. So a jab here, he knows the jab is coming back. He uses a little probe, gets Martirosyan to stick his lead hand out there because that's the pattern, but he's not committing to his jab on this axis, and is able to land a right hand over the top and really hurt him. Now in this next sequence, again, he shoots the jab. He's not committed to it. He pulls back away from Martirosyan's jab, shoots another jab, ducks under the counter jab that he knows Martirosyan is going to throw, because these are the layers that he's using to set up his shots, and then bam, lands a great uppercut. So let's just watch that layer right there. And now, all of that work just to land his uppercut. He understands that in order to get Martirosyan out of position so that he can land it, he needs to throw these shots and make Martirosyan put himself out of position by committing to his own offense and then walking into the uppercut. Now again, this is committed pattern-based layers. It's a probe, and he knows what he's looking for. He knows what he's looking for. He knows what he wants to see. Kovalev knew he wanted to see the jab against Shabransky, and Golovkin knew he wanted to see the jab against Martirosyan. And they were both able to take advantage of it. Now the next one, this is the most highest level of offense that you can have. It's the probing layer, where you don't know what you're looking for. You just react based on what your opponent gives you and make your opponent pay for it. It's usually a very slow, methodical moving. You move this way, if you use your lead hand, and then they shoot their counter jab, you go over the top, right? Or they shoot a right hand and you catch them with the left hook, or you slip it and come in with some shots. But you don't know what you're looking for. You just know that you need to get your opponent out of position before you commit to an attack. Now, here we have Kovalev versus Ward, and Kovalev is going to be probing with his lead hand. As you can see, it's very similar to the one he used against Shabransky. He steps with this jab, and he ducks away, and he knows, he doesn't know what he's looking for, but he's looking for Ward to give him an opportunity to punch at him. What he wants to do is he wants to get Ward out of position so that he can land a good shot. Because if he just throws a right hand at Ward, Ward's going to move out of the way. Ward his defense is too good. He's too smart. He has too good eyes. He's going to see it. So Kovalev goes back to layering his offense, and boom, gets a knockdown. So he shoots this jab, not committing to it, and he incites a reaction from Ward. And Ward says, oh, I'm going to slip that and counter. So this is the layer of defense that Ward is exhibiting. Now, in order to get around this layer of defense, slipping and countering the shot, he had to bait that action out of Kovalev, or out of Ward, because if Kovalev had just shot that jab and really tried to land it, he would have gotten caught with the counter right hand from Ward. But because Kovalev was baiting and was looking for a reaction from Kovalev by using his probes with that different style of layering, he was able to land a great right hand. And this is something that he had been probing like this with this style before, but Ward had not reacted in this way before, in anywhere in the fight before. So you can tell that this was all on the fly, that he was watching Ward to make a mistake, and that's what he wanted. That's what you want to do with your layers of offense, is you want to make your opponent make a mistake. You want to feint them, and then you want to attack them on the axis that they give you. Now the next fighter is Vasily Lomachenko, and this guy is a master at probing. He does it all. He has all of the layers of offense. He's able to attack on every layer, but most importantly, he's able to do the probing style. So here you see him come forward. He feints him low, goes low again, and then closes the distance because he gets He gets Gary Russell out of position, and without knowing what was going to happen, he's able to land a body shot. Let's just watch that again. Feints, changes levels, and then when he gets him to change levels, he comes up. He's able to land a great body shot. And that's not a punch that he was looking for, but he got Gary Russell to make a mistake, and then he was able to capitalize it by using his probes. Again, easily able to get him out of position and then land a shot. Now the next one is beautiful again. He feints him low, probes with the lead hand, and then gets Gary Russell Jr. to commit to a layer of offense or of defense. Gary Russell attempts to control the space between him and Vasily Lomachenko, and Lomachenko is able to land a great right hook to the body. Just watch this again, how easily he's able to get Gary Russell out of position by simply feinting him, changing levels, and probing with his lead hand. And then getting Gary Russell to be the first one to commit to an action, right? Because that's what you want to do. You want your opponent to commit to a defensive tactic. In the case with Kovalev and Ward, he got Ward to commit to a counter right hand and made him pay for it by moving off the line and countering his own counter. Now, in this instance, he gets Gary Russell Jr. to commit to a jab, slips the jab, and then comes up with his own right hook to the body. Now, all of the other situations are very similar in how they get their opponent to commit to a motion so that they can hide their offense and then land a shot. Now, this is a term I'm going to be calling in my videos from now on called layering, how you layer your offense, because you want to make your opponent make the first mistake. But if you're the first one to commit or expose your offense or your defense before your opponent does, the likelihood that you're going to be successful in that engagement, as you can see here, Gary Russell Jr. is the first one to commit to an attack, and he winds up getting countered because his layers didn't line up very well with Lomachenko's. Lomachenko was able to, in real time, look for an opening, force a mistake, and then take advantage of it, which is very difficult. As you saw in all the previous examples, Keith Thurman didn't wait to look for what kind of mistake his opponent made. He just hoped that his opponent would make one. Good fighters capitalize on your mistakes. Great fighters make you make mistakes. And Keith Thurman, in that instance, doesn't know how to make his opponent make a mistake. He's hoping. In the next one, Regis, Prograis, and Canelo are creating patterns and then looking at their opponent, how they react into those patterns, and then setting up offense off of those patterns that layer their attack so that you're not always on the same level as they are. So Canelo shooting the lead hand and then getting his opponent to shell up, opening up the body, shooting the lead hand, getting his opponent to shell up, and then exposing the right side of his face. So now when he feints that, his opponent goes here, and he can come around with the left hook instead. Very basic layers, but still getting their opponent out of position to defend the actual attack. And then you have the Golovkin and Kovalev using the pattern-based style where they're picking apart the patterns that their opponent is presenting to them with non-committed pattern-based attacks or a pattern-based layer. So they're probing, but they know what they're looking for. They know what it is that they want their opponent to do, and they're just looking to get them to do it. And in both cases, it just happened to be shoot the jab, and then get their opponent to attack and counter the jab because they think that that's the right layer that they need to attack on. But this is really just a bait, and then they were able to slip it and come over with the right hand, or in Golovkin's case, slip it and come up with an uppercut. And then you have the final layer, which is Lomachenko and Kovalev here, who don't know what they're looking for, but are able to recognize the opportunity to take advantage of their opponent committing to an attack first, boom, and making them pay for it because of it. As you can see here, Gary Russell commits to bodying up with him as a defensive tactic after he gets put out of position and winds up eating a body shot. And then right here, he attempts to use a jab to control the space between him and Lomachenko and winds up attacking on the wrong layer and getting hit with a shot to the body. Anyway, I don't know why. Oh, and then in the very next sequence, Lomachenko changes levels, probes with 2 more shots, gets Gary Russell into his high guard, and then slams a body shot on him. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this term and this idea of explaining boxing. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say. Yeah, thanks, guys.